It began with the first turn of dirt out here in 1941, I think it was. 42. My father was the district manager of Lone Star Gas Company, and he was responsible for laying the first pipes for natural gas out here. And we came out frequently until it became a no-go for us. He had access to it the whole time, but the family couldn't come out after that. It became an Air Force base. Yes, an Air Force base.
How old were you at the time?
10, 11 years old. But we really start with the family. Curtis Burns and I were classmates in high school, and we were going together. And in 1948, he came out here as a freshman. And I went off to TSCW. And I have pictures of the barracks 306, and he lived there and told many stories about the things that happened. And at the end of his freshman year, he went back on campus. So after he graduated in the class of 52, he went into the Air Force. We got married in 52 just before he finished his school. And then we went to West Palm Beach, and from there he went to Bartow, Florida for pilot training. And he was number 2 in his class, so he got his choice, and Brian was his choice. And as he wanted to fly fighters, at the time it was the F-86. So we came back here. He spent.
And what year would that have been?
1954. He was in the class of 54R, graduating here. And at that time, they were training all the NATO pilots. So there were Dutch, French, Danish, and several others. So we had a mixture of nations out here on graduation day.
So did you follow him around?
Yes.
To each of his posts? And so
Yes.
You
Oh,
got
yes.
to come home too.
Oh yes, we lived here 6 months. So from there we went to Nellis, and then with the wings falling off the F-86s, they didn't do any gunnery. So before he got to Nellis, we had to go to Del Rio for 6 weeks of gunnery in a T-33.
And do you remember your husband ever talking about how Brian Field and the Annex, as it was called when he was a freshman, how much it changed when he was assigned to Bryan Air Force Base?
There was not a whole lot of change because they were still they just closed up the barracks. These were tar paper barracks from the beginning, and his father, at the end of his freshman year, that would be May of 1949, received a bill for 69 cents for his part of the damage on Building 306. They threw firecrackers and did all sorts of stuff out here. He was one of the instigators of the firecracker brigade. Their recreation room was the officers' club, and they just rearranged the furniture. I don't think they even painted it when they reopened the base. And he came in because we came to several dances and things out here. In fact, Tex Beneke brought the Glenn Miller Orchestra here that summer of 54. And with the wings falling off the airplanes, they didn't do any gunnery in the F-86, so they couldn't send them on to Okinawa. That was the route that he would have taken had that problem not showed up. So they sent the entire class of 54R back to Selma, Alabama to go through pilot instructor school. And they became pilot instructors, which wasn't a happy conclusion at that point. At Selma, they asked for what they would like to do, where they would like to go. Most of the people came back to Bryan. When they got to Curtis, he said no, that he would like somewhere else because we both had mother-in-laws in Bryan, in College Station.
When did your husband end his service, and then what ultimately brought you back to the Bryan College Station area?
He retired in 1973. He went to Vietnam in 67 and 68, came home in 69, and we went and spent 4 years in Germany and came home.
So you brought your son Glenn
Yeah,
back to the Bryan College Station?
yes, our son had dyslexia and was not doing well in school, never had done well in school, but he made beautiful airplanes and could put anything together. We had told him that he had to find something that he liked to go to school, that he wasn't going to just finish a high school and sit around doing nothing. So Curtis found this program called the Institute of Electronic Design that was out here in one of the hangars.
At what was then called the Research Annex?
Yes.
The old Bryan?
Yes, so it was the annex. Uh-huh. Now this was before the computer chip, and they were making motherboards for the television and medical industry, with the capacitors and all the hand soldering and things that he was very good at. And he was doing very well, and they had, he was 6 weeks from graduating, and he started out to lift here and left class and got about a fourth of a mile or less from the front gate when a car veered into him and killed him instantly.
And this was on State Highway 21?
Yeah, on Highway 21. They were doing some work out there, and this guy was not looking where he was going, and just small Volkswagen didn't stand up to an SUV. So, but he was 20 and a half years old when he died.
And given your husband's many experiences, your father's experiences at the site, it's so sad and yet ironic that your own son's life would have ended at the same place.
But he was happy doing what he was doing. He had, at that time, they were graduating their students from that course and putting them into television stations and hospitals for repair and upgrading of their technical equipment, and making $17,000 a year. And that was unheard of.
Good money at the time.
It was very good.
Now, jobs training, skills training, still a part of the RELLIS campus today.
And then after we got elderly, we would come out here and volunteer to read the new road signs. They were in the process of changing fonts and colors and distances and everything, and we would drive 60 miles an hour down the runway and push a little button the first time we saw we could read the sign that we were coming up on.
Texas Transportation Institute.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep.
And we got $15 a night for it. And all of this was done in pitch black. And I mean, it was black.
You know, Ann, there may not be too many people who have as many ties to the RELLIS campus as you do.
Yeah, I know. It has been a part of our life the whole time. Even before it was an Air Force base, it was the site of several small farms, 40 acres and a mule type farms. We came out here and bought strawberries. We came out here and bought fresh chickens and turkeys and things like that from these people who lived out here. And this has just been a part of my life from the time I can remember.